When you shop at Ace Hardware in Everett and Lake Stevens, we'll help you find what you're looking for and offer friendly advice too. Owners Greg and Christine are all about serving their customers and their community. They support local high school sports and many other community organizations and events. So the next time you need help with your to-do list or project around the house, bring it to Ace. They'll greet you at the door and help you find whatever you need fast. Show your support for locally owned businesses. Shop Ace Hardware just off Highway 9 in Lake Stevens and Everett Greenway in Everett. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks.
Did you know that Speedway Chevrolet is part of the Lee Johnson Auto family? That means 84 years of serving you the LJ way. Need a truck? We have the perfect truck to fit your needs. Half tons, 1 ton, 2-wheel drives, and 4-wheel drives. Our finance specialists are here to help you, whether you have good credit or bad credit. We're just off Highway 522 at West Main Street in Monroe.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
We are all frustrated with the high cost of heating and cooling our homes. At GNS, we are completely changing the way you keep your home comfortable. Because we are Snohomish County's premier Lennox dealer, we can design a perfect system for you, one that will save you a lot of money on your utility bill. The Lennox Home Comfort System creates the ideal home environment. Enjoy innovation in every season with precise, quietly efficient Lennox heat pumps that keep your life simply perfect. Call GNS Heating, Cooling, and Electric today or visit us at gsheating.com.
Hello, volleyball fans, and welcome to Jackson High School, home of the 2010 state champion Jackson Timberwolves, still the only team in Wesco 4A, and I believe Wesco Athletics, to have a state volleyball championship banner on their wall. This is STSPN.com's broadcast of the Jackson Timberwolves versus Glacier Peak Grizzlies Wesco 4A match. I'm Matty Bishop alongside David Gillespie. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We've got ourselves a fantastic matchup, David, between the two of the three teams tied for second place in Wesco 4A right now. Both of these teams looking for a little bit of separation here.
And this should be an exciting one as both teams are tied 5-3 in the 4A Wesco Conference. So I'm very eager to see who comes out on top of this one, because this could really dictate who takes control of that second place spot behind Lake Stevens in the 4A Wesco Conference.
Lake Stevens, of course, undefeated, 8-0 on the season. One of these teams will go to 6-3. The other one will be 5-4. Monroe plays Cascade tonight. Good chance that Monroe is going to end up at 6-3 as well. The third member of our broadcast team is our producer and the heartbeat of the STSPN.com crew, Todd Elvig. Our presenting sponsor tonight is Ace Hardware of Lake Stevens and Everett. My Ace Hardware is getting in on this one this year. It's always been Lake Stevens. They've always taken really good care of our youth sports. Now we've got a little help from the Lake Stevens in Everett too. Speedway Chevrolet in Monroe is bringing you your scoreboard tonight. Skyline Properties Bothell supports the STSPN.com broadcast, as well as McDaniel's Do It Center in Snohomish, Adrenaline Fundraising, GNS Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, Fred's Rivertown Ale House, and Sally Petty with American Family Insurance. Thank you so much to all those guys for helping to make this happen. And of course, I'm here as a courtesy of Uprising Sports. Check us out at uprisingsports.com. We put together a little pregame package for this. Just launched a new product this week called the Uprising Sports Report. You can find it on our YouTube channel, coming to our website, and our social media soon. So check us out, uprisingsports.com, or just go into your social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Search for Uprising Sports. Introductions are coming down the pipe. We've got first serve in just a few moments between Glacier Peak and Jackson. We'll be right back, everybody. All right, welcome back inside Jackson High School. We are just a couple minutes away from first serve. David, we've seen this Glacier Peak team before. We know that their offense runs primarily through Sydney Peterson in the middle when their passing is up to par. The Jackson High School side, we know that Paige Wilson and Christina Johnson, Paige is a junior, Christina's a senior, are pulling down the majority of their kills this year. Jackson graduated a very talented setter last year in Taylor Eastwood. They've got Ava Doney playing in the middle for them. Should be a very interesting matchup as we watch two pretty evenly matched teams go at it.
Absolutely. They had five Wesco 4A first team all-conference players last year, two of them returning in Haley Pistol and Paige Wilson. So for Jackson, they're really getting off to a great start this far this year with maintaining a 10-5 record this year. Last year, of course, qualifying for the state tournament and trying to build on that again, while Glacier Peak, on the other hand, 5-3 in conference play. Coming off a win against Kamiak in a tightly contested matchup, winning 3-2. So both teams really just eager to prove themselves in this Wesco League, and what could be a better atmosphere right now than these two teams in this position vying for that second spot and getting after it at Jackson's home court.
Sophomore Julia Raker at the service line for the Timberwolves. Timberwolves in white, the Glacier Peak Grizzlies in their navy blue tops. Julia stepping into some big shoes, as we mentioned, with Taylor Eastwood moving on. Both of these teams played 5-set matches on Tuesday night. Jackson came out on the wrong end of a 5-setter against Monroe. They lost 3-2. Last time these teams met, it was Glacier Peak with the sweep early in the season. Julia Raker gets us underway as she's looking to prevent that from happening. The libero for Glacier Peak, Kate Hansen, shepherds that one over her shoulder and out of play. Quick substitution on the Timberwolves side. It's Katie German coming in for Katie German, the right side opposite, coming in for Raker. Natalie Ayotte at the service line as she hammers that jump top spin. Haley Pistol handles that no problem. The big slide from Ava Doney, but she is into the net as we see the intent from Jackson High School right here. Ava Doney working out of the middle. She is very dynamic. Maybe not the tallest middle you're going to see in high school volleyball, but she is quick. She likes to get out to that right pin. Ayotte again. And foot fault is the call. So you have to take off. Doesn't matter where you land, you have to take off behind the end line. And they say that Natalie touched the end line at their approach on that jump serve. Brings Lydia Robinson back to serve. The trickler from her, too much for Kate Hansen to handle. Robinson gets the ace. She'll be the other half of the setting duo, it appears, for Jackson. 5'7" junior. She goes right after the libero Hansen. The hands from Claire Johnson for Glacier Peak. So Glacier Peak looks like Claire Johnson's going to have your hands. Your front row outside hitter right now is the senior Christina Argue. Sliding into the front row middle spot is Emma Gluth, 6' junior. Sydney Peterson, your senior middle, back to serve. She's hitting that jump top spin from the end line. Sydney listed at 6'1". She plays much larger than 6'1". Natalie Ayotte's your outside hitter. We talked a little bit about her with that first serve.
Yeah, and her and Sydney Peterson, two of the more experienced volleyball players on this Glacier Peak team. And Sydney Peterson in particular going to be playing for University of Nevada volleyball team next year once she graduates. And, yeah, she's a top-notch player, one of the more valuable players on this Glacier Peak team, and we'll certainly see why down the stretch in this matchup against Jackson.
Paige Wilson puts her mark on the match early, coming out of the back row there. She hammers that one down. Congrats to Sydney, moving on to play at the next level. Carly Bond into the match for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. She'll play on your right side. Tall lefty wearing number 1. Christina Argue. Johnson. Bond tips with the right hand. Thought I got a touch of the block, but it did not. It made it through clean.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that call. I thought that would go in Glacier Peak's favor. From where I saw it, it looked like Jackson had touched it, but I guess that was incorrect.
Tough one to see. Rachel Erb misfires on her serve there. Checking into the match now and plays the Carly Bond is Jordan Sprink. She'll come in and she will set now. She'll serve and set for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies as they're running a 6-2. That means Claire Johnson will come over, hit on the right side in the front row. Nice pickup there from Haley Pistol. Out to the right side, that's Christina Johnson for Jackson. Natalie Ayotte out of the back row now. Pistol can't track that one down, and that's a kill for Ayotte. She is not large, but she is extremely dynamic. You mentioned that she's really experienced, David. She was a U14 Seaside Beach Volleyball Championship. Seaside, the largest beach doubles tournament in the world.
Yeah, and you can see why on that particular play where she makes up for her lack of size with her vertical leap and then just swats that ball down with all of her might and gets the kill. And Glacier Peak doubling the score of Jackson early in this first set.
Sprint continues to serve. Johnson swing down the line and a great swing there from Christina Johnson. She's a senior, really a big part of this team last year hitting from the right side. She's coming back into a leadership, a captain position this year along with the junior Wilson, and that's your best duo at right and left pin. They're in there now. Ava Doney to the service line. Here's Johnson. Lefty hammers that one off the block and out. So line judge is in.
Ruling in Glacier Peak's favor. Looks like there's a disagreement on the floor.
Yeah, the officials are, the up official is calling a touch, if he's calling a touch on that, what he would be calling is that the ball came off the block and touched a Glacier Peak player on its way out. I think what he's intending to call is that there was a touch on the block and the ball went out off the block. That would give the point to Glacier Peak, and that signal would be that the ball was out. So a quick conference between the officiating crew here. The point does go to Glacier Peak. It did come off the block and go out, so that maybe shouldn't be a touch nomenclature. Paige Wilson on top of that. Claire Johnson waiting there as well. The captains for Mindy Staudinger confused.
Yeah.
Everyone's a little confused. The official, sir, if you watch this, that's signal for that is out, not touch. Christina Argue. Ball popped up by Johnson, sent over by the middle. Jordan Sprink, the setter, digs out of his system, set by Hansen. Big swing from Natalie Ayotte, and she finds the floor. It's number 13, Ainsley Johansson, who's checked in at middle, sophomore for Jackson. So a little bit of youth on the floor for the Timberwolves right now. Christina Argue continuing to serve for the Grizzlies.
Ayotte making her impact early in this first set already for Glacier Peak.
Johnson gets a weird cut on that, and a lift is the call. So indicating that the point of call, there was a catch and throw involved. Okay, judgment call. Christina Argue continues to serve. Glacier Peak on a roll here early. That ball popped up beautifully by the setter Robinson and then misfired on by the middle, and that's going to bring an early timeout from Jackson head coach Mindy Staudinger. We're going to take an early timeout here on STSPN.com as well.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline Fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline Fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow-through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
Here we go. Christina Argue continues to serve for the Jackson Timberwolves. Christina Johnson, big swing for the Grizzlies. Ayotte pops that off the block of Johnson. Out of system, and some disagreement between Ayotte and Hansen, or some confusion, I should say, not disagreement. That ball drops to the floor, and a much-needed side out for the Jackson Timberwolves brings Johnson to the service line.
And it's important that they get those miscommunication issues out of the way early as opposed to having that come down in the final sets. So important to resolve those right now for Glacier Peak as they continue their run, leading 12-6 in the first set over Jackson.
Johnson with the swing there. Jordan Sprink sets outside for Natalie Ayotte. Tip over the top. Another pickup by Johnson. Robinson pushes out Paige Wilson. Rolls that one over. Nice pickup from the defensive specialist Ashley Cordero. And that ball comes down on the Glacier Peak side. So point for the Timberwolves as they're working to claw their way back into set number one here.
Nice little soft touch by Jackson on that one to get the point. They try to rally back down 5 now.
Ayotte with the pass. Sprink into the middle for Emily Gluth. Pick up by Johnson. Running this down, Lydia Robinson. Ball sent over free from Johansson. Here's Sprink going. Look, Gluth. Nice pickup again by Robinson. Out of system set. Johnson. That ball fired into the net by Wilson as Johnson maybe just didn't get enough height under it to give Wilson time to really get around and get a good approach there.
Johnson and Gluth on the block right there. Great point for Glacier Peak.
Kate Hansen at the service line. Little dump. What a pickup by Cordero, and Natalie Ayotte hammers it. Hansen covers. Here's Johnson on the other side. Nice pickup by Christina Johnson. Setter dump from Robinson again. Picked up by Ayotte. Sprink, tight set. Ayotte can't do anything with it. That's 4 contacts. Good defense on display on both sides here. We're going to be in for a lot of fun if we see some of that tonight.
Absolutely. A battle between both teams, and Jackson coming out on top with that one.
Paige Wilson to the service line. Go, almost got it to trickle over. It did not. With Wilson going to the back row, that brings Erin Ingram, 6'1" sophomore, into the front row for Jackson. So they're going with a little bit of size. Sydney Peterson into the front row for Glacier Peak. They're trying to match up Ingram with Peterson here, perhaps. Pick up by Johnson. Out of system set Hansen. Here's Ayat hammering that ball. Haley Pistol with the pickup. Robinson, back row for Wilson. Cordero with the dig. Here's Ayat again. Nice pickup off the block by Pistol. Wilson out of the back row once more. Hansen somehow gets out of the way. That ball's about 3 inches long, and it's a point for Glacier Peak. Claire Johnson at the service line. Carly Bonds checked in to play on the right side of the front row. Lydia Robinson, she goes to Ingram. Peterson with the block. So Peterson and Bond maxed up against Ingram. That matchup looks to favor Glacier Peak early here. We'll see if the sophomore Erin Ingram can find some ways to work around that big block.
Yeah, especially with Peterson's size right there. Being 6'1", using that frame to just stuff their attempt.
That's a good,
did again on that one,
good
too.
Piece of blocking by Peterson. Is the first shot, Ingram tries to go over with the roll shot. She manages to delay her jump just enough when she sees the elbow drop to swat that one back. It's picked up. Ingram goes with the power, and Peterson just eats it up. Little misconnect on the offense there as Robinson trying to set the slide for Johansson. They misfire there. Claire Johnson continues to serve. Senior setter and right side. Robinson for Ingram. Rolls it over the top right to Ayat. Here comes Bond, the big lefty. Nice pickup by Johnson. Out of system set from Hansen. Here's Ayat off the block. What a pickup by Christina Johnson. Cordero runs this one down. Here's Bond again. Roll shot over the top, picked up by the setter Robinson. Out of system set from Johnson. We're going to say that was clean. Okay. Here's Robinson. Outside for Ayat. Ayat off the hands, pick up by Pistol. Johnson out of system set with the platform this time. Paige Wilson out of the back row. Pick up Cordero. Johnson for Sydney Peterson in the middle of the court. It's only a matter of time before they fed the monster in the middle. Sydney Peterson has the ability to take over a match, and we saw it right there.
Yeah, speaking on the two most experienced individuals on this volleyball team, in Peterson and Ayat, certainly both making their impact in this matchup early. As we just saw yet again, Peterson impacting that play in favor for Glacier Peak.
Ayat with the swing off the tape. Haley Pistol runs down the dig from Wilson. Ingram sends a free ball. Cordero in system. Here comes Peterson. And you're not going to stop that. It gets to a point where you just can't give Glacier Peak a free ball when number 16 is standing in the middle of the front row.
I mean, that hammer's intimidating because she just swats it down like nobody's business. With another big point for Glacier Peak, up 12 now in the first set.
Wilson with the pass. She gets a swing out of the back row and just misses wide. And it is all Glacier Peak here early. Jackson, the home crowd, a big home crowd I should say, is stunned here as the Glacier Peak Grizzlies putting on a clinic early on. Christina Johnson with the pass. Robinson looks for Wilson. This is right to Peterson. She's going to go to Bond, and the block comes back, and that's Ingram and Johansson teaming up for the block on the Timberwolves side. So Claire Johnson working to move the ball around a little bit, get Carly Bond involved, maybe create a little bit of hesitancy in the blocks, who would assume it's going to Peterson. Didn't work out so well that time. Becca Nowak at the service line for the Timberwolves. Cordero with the pass. Here's Ayat. Johnson with the dig. Robinson outside for Ingram. Double contact called. Set was out anyway. Either way, that was going to be a Glacier Peak point. Haley Pistol checks back into the match now. So your serve receive for the Jackson Timberwolves is Johnson, Wilson, and Pistol. Natalie Ayat with the jump top spin misfires into the net. A little risk-reward ratio going there. She scores a lot of points with that serve. She gives a few away. As long as you're 1-to-1 aces to errors or a little better, most coaches are going to be pretty happy with that. Robinson, Ayat. Here's Sydney Peterson, and nobody can deal with that on the other side. The block was there. Sydney just reached right over top of him. Little bit of an off-speed swing, not the cleanest contact we've seen tonight, but it's good enough to get her another kill on the stat sheet.
Just a clear display of more energy coming from the Glacier Peak team, who are just as amped up as could be. And Jackson not responding to this with the same tone yet in this first set. So it's going to be interesting to see what takes place in the second set, as only 2 points remain before this one gets closed out.
Robinson with the dig, out of system set by Johnson. Ingram resets that ball off the block, and Johnson had a right idea, as Gluth wasn't going to make it across to get the hands up in front of her, but she misfires into the net, and it is set point here in set number 1. Sydney Peterson, the senior middle, at the service line. Oh, gosh, it was close.
Great serve, just a little too much on that one.
Line judge was right on top of it. I thought that ball might have nicked the very end of the line, but his angle is better than mine. And by the way, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on camera tonight, but if you happen to get a view of the gentleman on the right-hand side who's line judging, his mustache game is strong. Big block from Paige Wilson and Ava Doney for the Timberwolves.
I got to say, I am envious of the guy's mustache growing ability.
Dude, that is legit.
That is full-fledged, right where you need it to be, just the right amount of hair.
Rachel Erb serving. Natalie Ayotte out of the back row, and a double contact called. So a couple points towards the end of set 1 here, as Jackson High School will be working just to try and find some things that work. Get a little bit of rhythm. Get a little bit of momentum as you reset going back into set 2. Still a lot of volleyball in front of us tonight. Christina Argue, that ball's off the block of Johnson and Doney. Out of the back row now, Ayotte, she rolls over the top. Nice pickup from Erb. Outside Paige Wilson off the hands. Picked up, and Hansen can't quite run it down. Net violation was the call. That was what the early whistle was for, as Ayotte pop that one up in the air. So we see the intent of Jackson early. They're going to go to Paige Wilson a lot, no matter where she is on the floor. You can see that just by looking at their stat sheet. Carly Bond chops that one through. Nice pickup by Rachel Erb. Into the middle, Ava Doney. Pick up by Hansen. Run down one-handed by Argue. Ayotte sends the free ball. Here's Robinson. She goes outside. Paige Wilson, and Kate Hansen's underneath it, but can't control it. Wilson gets another kill, and Jackson feeling it a little bit here at the end of set 1. Senior defensive specialist Rachel Erb at the service line. Set her dump, too easy. Roll shot over the top from Wilson. It's scrambled up, and
looks like
thought Natalie Ayotte got it with one hand. The official determines it was 2, and it was a double, and that's going to bring us to a timeout, as Glacier Peak has squandered 6 set points in a row now, I believe. We'll go ahead and stick with you here through this one as we head in towards the end of set 1. I'm Matty Bishop alongside David Gillespie. Thanks for watching STSPN.com, everybody. Don't forget to support our sponsors, please, especially Ace Hardware in Lake Stevens and Everett. Speedway Chevrolet in Monroe, Skyline Properties in Bothell, McDaniels Do-It Center, Adrenaline Fundraising, GNS Heating and Cooling and Electrical, Fred's Rivertown Ale House, and American Family Insurance, specifically Sally Petty. So David, Rachel Erb at the service line. Glacier Peak, quick timeout, just trying to get things on track and finish this first set.
Yeah, very important for Jackson to get something going at the end of this first set. They may not come with a W in this set. We see right here as this one closes out with Glacier Peak on top, 25-16.
And that's the end of set number 1. Glacier Peak will go into the second set in the lead, looking to get a tie for second place in Wesco. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes or less here on STSPN.com.
McDaniel Center is located in beautiful Snohomish, Washington. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years. They are proud to provide the Snohomish Valley with exceptional hardware, tools, lawn and garden, and sporting goods products. Their commitment to delivering legendary customer service and their outstanding employees continue to make McDaniel's the best and one of the most recognized do-it-best centers in the nation. Stop by and experience for yourself the difference between McDaniel's and the big box stores. Discover why so many people are choosing to shop at McDaniel's.
Did you know that Speedway Chevrolet is part of the Lee Johnson Auto family? That means 84 years of serving you the LJ way. Need a truck? We have the perfect truck to fit your needs. Half tons, 1 ton, 2-wheel drives, and 4-wheel drives. Our finance specialists are here to help you, whether you have good credit or bad credit. We're just off Highway 522 at West Main Street in Monroe.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
Your dreams evolve, and with committed support, they thrive. American Family Insurance.
And we are back here at Jackson High School. Well, towards the end of set number 1, the home Jackson Timberwolves got a little bit of momentum, got some things going, but man, the vast majority of that set, David, was Glacier Peak Grizzlies doing what the Grizzlies do.
Yeah, led by their two key players, and Natalie Ayotte and Sydney Peterson, who both were just on fire, especially Peterson down that final stretch. But I do think it was important that Jackson got a little bit of a rally going towards the end of the set, just to get something going, just to ignite a spark as we get into the second set. So maybe the tables could turn in this one. We'll find out, because this is going to be a big matchup that'll set up the standings for who takes control of that second place spot in Wesco.
Claire Johnson with the serve for the Grizzlies, the overfeed, and Sydney Peterson with her first kill in set number 2. Sydney Peterson, another one of those players. She doesn't care who sets for her, just as long as she gets the big swing and can drop that big hammer. Johnson, the lefty. Paige Wilson with the pass. Here's Ingram on the outside. What a pickup from Kate Hansen. Johnson tries to control that one, is a little bit too tight, and she is judged to have touched the net on that one. Brings Lydia Robinson. No in that one. Sorry, I know Lydia, I missed it a few times today. So we have a little officials conference. Something happened there. The official wasn't very pleased about. Okay. So the officials meet, and then the R2 gives the, yeah, I'm not sure if they're upset because Christina Argue is sitting on the floor over here. Some of the Glacier Peak players are stretching. I'm really not sure what's going on there. I do know that Claire Johnson just set that ball for Natalie Ayotte, and violation called for under the net against Ayotte, I'm guessing. Now Coach Dave Thorne having a discussion with the R2. Kate Hansen with the pass. Johnson, Ayotte, standing down ball. Haley Pistol, Robinson, outside for Ingram, and another net violation call against Glacier Peak. And Which one happened first, the net violation or the carry?
Yeah, Jackson taking advantage of the mistakes made by Glacier Peak, who had a couple of their mistakes, a fair share of their mistakes in the first set. None of them too costly, of course, as they took control.
So the R2 is taking over the match here. And now he's called that Claire Johnson released early, and that's Coach Dave Thorne's going to take a timeout, let everything cool off a little bit.
I think that was necessary.
Something got the R2 upset enough to walk over and speak with the R1, and then he had words with the Glacier Peak bench again, and then the Jackson bench was yelling, and then 3 calls go against Glacier Peak, and now we'll get back and see what happens as we come back out of this first time out here. So just like set number 1, a real herky-jerky start to set number 2. No real rhythm at all, but this time it's the Jackson Timberwolves with a 4-1 lead.
Glacier Peak needing to mentally adjust and be ready for the second set to continue their stretch with such a dominant performance in set 1. But finding themselves down by 3 is not the way to go for obvious reasons in set number 2.
Meanwhile, Lydia Robinson at the service line. Ayat for Johnson, left-handed Bond, pick up by Pistol. Robinson runs that one down. Wilson sends a free ball. Cordero, Johnson. Here's Ayat with the big approach. Big block up. It's Ava Doney at the net. That ball popped back over. Robinson sets for the right side. Johnson. There was another net violation in there somewhere. This one not called. Ayat chops it wide, and it's out of play. And I think very likely there could have been another net violation called against Glacier Peak there. As we see them shift their serve receive now, Natalie Ayat pushes up just to give a little bit different look. So Hansen, Cordero, and Bond are your serve receive. They go after Cordero. Her pass is a good one to Johnson, tipped over the top. Doney gets a touch on the block and then digs. Paige Wilson out of the back row. Easy roll shot dug by the setter Johnson. Hansen out of system set, rolls it to the right side. Bond gets a right hand on it, resets it off the block. Ayat with the swing. Little dump over the top. Peterson pops it back up, and a lift called against Peterson. To be fair, the ball handling was behind the official. I couldn't see that.
Yeah, it was tough to get a view on that one.
That's a weird spot to see a lift on a reactionary play that's popped up on a first contact, but if it was a catch and throw, it was a catch and throw. Cordero can't control that one, and it's a service ace for Robinson, and it's all Jackson here in set number 2. Lydia Robinson, the junior setter at the service line. In the front row, she's got Christina Johnson, the senior right side, Ava Doney, who is a senior middle, and the sophomore left side, Erin Ingram. Here's Doney. Oh, Sydney Peterson with authority.
Oh, no.
And
they're calling that off.
So that call has to be on the second contact that she went up and touched, because you can't be called for over the net if you're blocking an attack, which clearly it was an attack with Doney swinging. We have had some very technical officiating going on here. So they're saying that Peterson reached over and interfered with a Jackson player's ability to play the ball. I honestly didn't see it. Probably would have mentioned it if I did.
From my angle, it looked like there could have been some potential contact with the net. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
But it was not a net violation that he called. He called interference.
That's what I would have guessed as soon as they awarded the point to Jackson. But I guess that was not the case, according to the refs. The ref's call. So
Natalie Ayat misfires on her jump serve there. That'll bring Rachel Erb into the back row for Jackson, and they had a good run towards the end of set number 1 with Rachel at the service line. Kate Hansen passes this one. Johnson sends it wide for Argue. That ball doesn't touch anything like a block and is called for contacts, and Jackson just continues to roll.
And you got to wonder what's going through the mind of Dave Thorne right now with his team and what he thinks he needs to do to mentally check this team and get them back into a rhythm again, whether it's calling a timeout or
Natalie Ayat unloads on that one. Haley Pistol with the defense. Carly Bond gets a touch, but it's another kill for the Jackson Timberwolves. Haley Pistol getting some love from her teammates, and Dave Thorne, whatever is on his mind, he's going to share it with his team as he uses his second timeout We're going to take a timeout here on STSPN.com.
Fred's Rivertown Ale House was established in July of 1994 and is located at 1114 First Street in historic downtown Snohomish. Each time you visit the ale house, you may expect to find new beers and new food choices. Fred's Rivertown Ale House is well known throughout the beer community. Oftentimes, we are the first choice for breweries to introduce new beers, limited or specialty beers, and beers you just won't find anyplace else. At Fred's, we like to say that once we get you through the front door, our friendly service, relaxed family atmosphere, and our quality food and beverages will keep you coming back.
Overlap. We welcome back inside Jackson High School as we're sitting here discussing some of the creative officiating, or at least
rather questionable.
Very technical. We'll give the benefit of the doubt. Very technical officiating that's happening here in set number 2. Meanwhile, the Jackson Timberwolves just taking care of business, enjoying themselves immensely. Haley Pistol picks up the big swing from Peterson. Doney touched off the block of Peterson. Outside now. Here's Christina Argue over the top, and Pistol can't get under that one as it careens off the block, and Glacier Peak finally gets a side out. Sydney Peterson comes into the back row. She will serve and then check out in favor of the libero Hansen. That means into the front row is Emily Gluth. Christina Johnson off the block. Nice pickup from Claire Johnson. Outside now, Carly Bond hammers that off the block. Pick up by Pistol. Robinson outside. Paige Wilson. Oh, she tattooed that one. What an angle of contact from Paige as she hammers the ball down hard cross court. Ava Doney at the service line.
Of course, Paige Wilson leading the team in kills this year with 155 and second in kill percentage with a 37%.
Service ace from the senior Doney, and Jackson. Seems like this set has taken a long time. It's 13-3. Still a lot of volleyball left to play in set number 2, but the Jackson Timberwolves rolling. Float into the middle. Ayat with the pass. Johnson goes for Bond on the right side. Pick up by Erb. Robinson outside. Paige Wilson again, and she has been on fire ever since, right towards the end of set number 1. You saw her start to get a little bit of a rhythm, and Glacier Peak has not had an answer for Paige Wilson here in set number 2.
Just adding to her kill total as she leads the team thus far this year, and she has just been on fire in set number 2. Going to be interesting to see if she can continue this.
Roll shot from Christina Argue, a little off-speed pitch, so to speak. Off-speed shot over the top, gets the side out for Glacier Peak. That brings Jordan Sprink in to serve and set. Claire Johnson will play right side, Christina Argue on the left, and Emily Gluth in the middle for the Grizzlies. Big swing off the block from Ainsley Johansson. Natalie Ayad. Somehow Kate Hansen kept that ball from going into the Jackson student section, but Natalie Ayad couldn't run it down at the end line as it was a bit of a desperate save. Captain, or one of the captains, Christina Johnson at the service line for Jackson. Ayat sets this ball well off the net, 18, 19 feet off the net. Free ball, Pistol, outside. Here's Wilson. There's the big block of Claire Johnson, and a net violation called against Christina Argue. And he said, You
can see David Thorne shaking his head a little bit, wondering what's going on here.
Christina Johnson continues to serve. Ayat, misfeed on that one. Service ace for Johnson, and it's all Jackson High School here in set number 2. So Glacier Peak wins the first set with relative ease. Jackson High School grabs some momentum towards the end of set number 1, and they are rolling here in set number 2. Into the middle. Christina Argue just punches that one over. Free ball for Paige Wilson, and she goes down the line. And there is no answer for Paige Wilson right now.
Absolutely not. She has been carrying the team, whether it's the defensive performance from Jackson and contending whatever Glacier Peak has been able to deliver offensively or attempt to deliver. And then Paige Wilson, with her kills, left and right in set number 2. It's just been Jackson's show the entire time.
Substitution as Abby Peterson comes in to play middle now for Glacier Peak. So they're going to try and get some sort of hands in front of her. Nice pickup from Pistol. Free ball from Herb. Here's Peterson with her first touch. This ball goes outside for Christina Argue. She hammers it off the tape, and that one's a net violation again against Glacier Peak. I believe that is the 5th net violation that's been called against Glacier Peak in this set number 2. That brings about another substitution from Coach Dave Thorne. Hannah Varghese into the match, number 19. She will be your front row outside hitter, and Kate Hansen gets the pass. Sprink pushes this ball out back row, misfire from Ayot, and when it rains, it pours. Glacier Peak can't find a point to save their lives. Here comes Kara Hunter in place of Natalie Ayot. As Dave Thorne might as well just call a line switch here. If we were playing hockey, he'd be pulling everybody off, bringing a whole new line out. Johnson. And that's a service ace from Christina Johnson.
Glacier Peak just looks lost right now mentally. It's not even close.
The substitutions have been made. It's been a rough set number 2 for the Grizzlies. Almost certain that Jackson's going to even this one up. Just a matter of how long that's going to take. Kate Hansen with the pass. Sprink pushes this back for Varghese. She touches the ball over the top. It's picked up into the middle. Hansen runs all the way up to 2 feet off the net. Deals with it. Hunter with the swing. Nice pickup by Johnson. Here's some confusion. Wilson sends over a free ball. Picked up by Hunter. Sprink, right side, Claire Johnson off the block and down. So Glacier Peak, nice big swing from Claire Johnson off the hands of the Jackson block, and Jackson gets an opportunity to work their serve-receive game here. Herb Pistol and Christina Johnson in serve-receive. Varghese with the serve. Robinson, that's a double contact call on the back set against Lydia Robinson, and so at least 11 points on referee whistles here in set number 2. It's been really choppy. Hannah Varghese continues to serve. Christina Johnson, out of system set from Haley Pistol. Touched up over the top. Jordan Sprink, the setter, digs this one. Hansen, right side for Johnson. Chops it down the line. Picked up by Herb. Outside, here's Paige Wilson. Roll shot over the top. Defense by Sprink. Out, here's right side. Kara Hunter misfires on that one as that ball didn't get quite out to the pin. Varghese checks out. Ashley Cordero, checks in, the senior defensive specialist for Glacier Peak. It'll be her, Hansen, and the front row outside hitter Hunter. Paige Wilson at the service line for Jackson. Hunter pops this one up. Cordero runs it down outside the court. Hunter sends the free ball. Robinson, the slide. Oh, and no answer for that either, as that's Ainsley Johansson comes around the right pin. Didn't get the best contact on it, but it was enough to bounce off the tape and drop down in front of the Glacier Peak defense. Paige Wilson continues to serve. This one's about 4 feet long. And a welcome sight for Glacier Peak as Sydney Peterson's back into the front row. Kate Hansen, the libero, at the service line. Hansen misfires, and it is set point here in set number 2 for the Jackson Timberwolves. Well, the beautiful part about the game of volleyball, David, is that no matter how bad you lose a set, the next set starts at 0-0.
Yeah, it's a fresh, new, clean slate, and that's exactly what Glacier Peak needs. And you got to wonder if this is going to be kind of a flip-floppy match, because Glacier Peak was almost as dominant as Jackson was in set number 1. And, yeah, it's certainly got out of hand for Glacier Peak in set number 2. So I think that's desperately what they need, is a fresh, clean slate going into set 3.
Carly Bond into the front row. Claire Johnson back to serve and set. Paige Wilson with the pass. Out of system set from Pistol. Wilson, big swing over the top. Dig Cordero. Johnson's going to run that down. She sets for Hunter, and that ball was set almost on top of the officiating stand. And that's Jackson High School's claim to set number 2. We are tied at 1 set apiece here in this, let's just call it an erratic Wesco 4A matchup between two teams that have an opportunity to move into second place here with a win tonight. I'm Matty Bishop alongside David Gillespie. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back in just over a minute and a half here on STSPN.com.
McDaniel's Do-It Center is located in beautiful Snohomish, Washington. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, they are proud to provide the Snohomish Valley with exceptional hardware, tools, lawn and garden, and sporting goods products. Their commitment to delivering legendary customer service and their outstanding employees continue to make McDaniel's the best and one of the most recognized do-it-best centers in the nation. Stop by and experience for yourself the difference between McDaniel's and the big box stores. Discover why so many people are choosing to shop at McDaniel's.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow-through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
Welcome back inside Jackson High School as our producer Todd Elvig showing off the toys as we've got the CBS Sports Network ticker going at the bottom of the match here. I'm Matty Bishop alongside David Gillespie. We're tied at 1 set apiece in what has been, let's just call it a back and forth affair, David. All Glacier Peak in set 1, all Jackson in set 2, and what the heck do you think set 3 is going to bring us?
I have no idea. It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. Set number 2, just unbelievable performance by Jackson, led by their star player in Paige Wilson, and an incredible defensive performance by Jackson as well. Furthermore, taking advantage of the constant violations we saw from Glacier Peak, whether it was from the service errors or the net violations, everything you could imagine did not go right for Glacier Peak in set 2. So you've got to wonder, did that message that Dave Thorne delivered going into this set stay within their heads to just start clicking, start finding a way to get into a rhythm and start firing on all cylinders in set 3.
Here's Natalie Ayotte with the first pass of set number 3. Sydney Peterson with the first kill of set number 3. One thing we do know, both of these coaches are very experienced. Dave Thorne, a very even keel dude. So we'll see what he's able to give his team, what kind of mental toughness Glacier Peak is able to come out and show after a rough set number 2, but those happen. Someday you're the dog, someday you're the hydrant. There's Natalie Ayotte. She's missed a couple of those big jump top spins tonight. That one goes down for an ace. And that's why they have her do what she does. So effective from that service line. So few players able to do that. And Christina Argue gets the easy kill as she just deals with the overfeed, puts it into a hole.
And Jackson did such a great job containing Natalie Ayotte in set number 2, where she wasn't able to find those open spots because Jackson defensively was all over the place.
She misfires there. That toss gets way out, not high enough and out in front of her, and that's a bad combination for a jump top spin. You're way better off to keep it a little too high and a little too close to you than you are to let it get low and out front. Lydia Robinson the serve, just long for the Jackson Timberwolves. That brings Sydney Peterson in her jump top spin, which this year is the first year that I've seen Sydney with that jump top spin serve. And it is an effective one as Ingram. Ava Toney doesn't like the call. Neither does Mindy Staudinger. The R2 can't see. He's got a crummy angle on that. If the line judge is not looking at the line, and again, we're having an officials conference. There's really no need for a conference there. If he called it out, he called it out. If he's not looking at the line, well, he is a paid official. Or at least a volunteer official here. It's not like we have parents or kids calling. They should be capable of doing the job and keeping the match moving along. So our up ref trying to get his crew on the right track here.
And yet there seems to be a difference in opinions when it comes to a plethora of calls tonight. And you got to wonder what's going on here because they don't seem to be on the same page.
Yeah, there's definitely no, and I have no idea. Is the R2 very clearly signaled he didn't see it. The R1 was screened, and so the line judge must have changed his mind based on what the coaches and players for Jackson said, and that's a bad precedent to set. No touch detected. That ball's hit out of play, and here we go with set number 3. Rachel Erb at the service line. Natalie Ayotte, perfect pass for Johnson. Outside, Christina Argue chops that one long down the line. Peterson up off the bench. She wanted a touch. I don't think so. I don't think it was even that close.
Yeah, that looked clearly out.
Argue. Bump set for the Ayotte out of the back row. Nice pickup by Rachel Erb. Here's Christina Johnson from the right side. Pick up by Claire Johnson. Bump set by Hansen. Ayotte just sends the tough down ball. Erb has a hard time with it. Paige Wilson backhands it. Johnson outside wide. Argue little roll shot over the top. Great pickup from the setter Robinson. Free ball sent over by Pistol. Dug by Ayotte, and then the overset. And coming back, Johnson can't deal with it. And so we have watched a game that has, in short moments, shown us some beautiful volleyball, but man, this is really coming down in the end of it to a really scrappy affair.
Well, now we have a tightly contested battle between these two in set 3, where it was clearly getting out of hand, even at this point in sets 1 and 2. So at least we have a matchup nonetheless.
Johnson picks up the setter dump from Robinson, but Argue hammers the ball into the net. And so Glacier Peak's offense right now relying heavily on Natalie Ayotte out of the pipe, and that's a difficult spot to be in. Rachel Erb helps him out, gives him the side out as she serves out of bounds. Jordan Sprink will check in for Carly Bond. She will serve and set. That means Claire Johnson's your right side on the front row for Glacier Peak. Sprink is serving to Erb, Pistol, and I believe, and Wilson, yes. You're outside. And just a sky ball set for Christina Johnson. Apparently there was a touch from Emily Gluth there outside. Argue hammers that one off the tape. Pick up by Paige Wilson. Robinson back for Wilson. She's off the hands. Kate Hansen with the pirouette dig. And Ayotte hammers that one down. Robinson deals with it. And Ava Doney goes up and puts it down. There we go. There's some volleyball, David.
Great kill by Ava Doney on that one. Just hits it at the right time in the right place, and
that is
Jackson taking control up by 2 right now.
That is a difficult play to make when the ball is coming from behind you and you've got to change directions and get it around a block.
Yeah, to be able to anticipate that's quite tough, and she was able to get it done right there.
Christina Argue with the hard kill from the right pin cross court. She'll go back to serve. That brings Natalie Ayotte into the front row, along with Emily Gluth and Claire Johnson. Paige Wilson with the pass, and Gluth goes up and just shuts down any opportunity to dump that ball over. Not sure how you get the double contact out of that.
Yeah, that
it came off the block. It went to setter, block, setter again, and down. That's not a double if the block touches it in the middle, but Sprink, set, Ayotte with the pokey. That's a high-quality beach move right there, David. She went up, didn't have a lot of options. She just curled her knuckles over and poked that ball down the line, made it difficult for the defense, a low, flat trajectory. Natalie Ayotte showing the full repertoire now.
Certainly the technician of the team, and she put that on full display right there.
Big swing from number 13, Ainsley Johansson, and that's a nice side out, well-executed play from the Jackson Timberwolves. I like Lydia Robinson. I like the way she's moving. I like the way she's working her offense around. Sophomore stepping into big shoes, as we mentioned, taking over as setter for the varsity team here at Jackson. Ashley Cordero with the pass. Jordan Sprink, Claire Johnson hammers that one off the block. Paige Wilson, that big block is up. Pistol sends that ball over. Cordero just keeps it alive. Here's an out-of-system set for Ayotte, and that ball found, I thought that ball found the corner.
It looked like it
just
went out.
I thought it had it. Dave Thorne is up off the bench. He thought it had it, and we're going to talk to the line judge again. And if the line judges can't do the job, they shouldn't be here doing the job.
See the competition coming out of you, Maddie.
So the key is you watch the line, not the ball. If you watch the ball, you're going to end up behind it, and you aren't going to see where the contact is.
Exactly.
If you watch the line, then you're on. And I think what he was talking to him was about the way he presented the flag that time, added some confusion, looked like he was going to call it down, then he called it out, and he said, hey, man, just make a clean call, and we'll go with it.
I have to say I do agree with that call. It did look like it was out on that particular play. But again, clearly there's some miscommunication between these refs on what is the actual call and what should have been the actual call.
Nice pickup by Paige Wilson. She'll get a swing now. She misses just wide down the line. So again, it's been a scrappy affair here all night tonight. Lots of out-of-system play, lots of funky-looking stuff. To be fair, it's pretty fun to watch. As much as I like a good, clean, beautiful game, when you get two teams, 12 athletes on the floor just scrapping for every point, it's a pretty good time. Kate Hansen serves for the Grizzlies. Kate Hansen with the service ace for the Grizzlies.
I think this set epitomizes what we were hoping to see in this matchup between two teams who are tied, of course, in the 4A Wesco League, as opposed to what we saw in sets 1 and 2, which were clear, blatant blowouts by both teams.
What a pickup by Kate Hansen as Jackson showed a pretty sweet little play with their offense there. It was a quick feint in by the middle, Johansson, and Wilson swings almost in a 32 type of setup on the net. Hansen got under it, couldn't control it, and the Timberwolves put it down. Paige Wilson back to the service line now. She goes after Ayat. Outside, Sydney Peterson hammers that one down, so they do like rotation 6 at Glacier Peak when they can just roll their big hammer out to the outside, let her hit at the left pin. Natalie Ayat comes in for the quick 2 there, and man, it doesn't matter if you know it's coming. If Sydney Peterson gets a good set from that left pin, it's going down.
Yeah.
Misfire there from Johnson. Haley Pistol will not serve. Into the match to serve is Lexi Dollarhide, one of the best names in Wesco this year. Lexi Dollarhide, the junior outside hitter. She'll serve for the Timberwolves. She misfires. Ava Doney back into the front row. She is there alongside of Erin Ingram. And they've got the setter Robinson in the front row with them. Christina Johnson. Oh, goodness. Natalie Ayat misses that one by a lot. Christina Johnson and I believe Paige Wilson and Haley Pistol are your back row players. Johnson comes to the front row as the setter Robinson comes back to serve. So a couple misfires on the serve there.
Johnson second on the team with 80 kills and a 31% killing percentage.
Christina Argue gets all of that one. Nice pickup from Paige Wilson. Ayat. Oh, big swing. Nice pickup by Wilson again. Here's the free ball sent. Ayat deals with it. Will they go to Peterson? Of course they'll go to Peterson. Again off the block. Ava Doney and Erin Ingram doing the work in there. But again, the roll shot right back to Ayat. Now it's Ayat out of the pipe. She goes roll shot over the top. Pick up by Wilson. Right side now. Johnson off the inside hand of Peterson, and it comes down on the Glacier Peak side. So great defense by the Jackson Timberwolves. Ava Doney and Erin Ingram getting up in the middle. You don't have to block the big ball straight down. That's not what you're necessarily trying to do, but you're trying to change the tempo, move that ball up in the air, give your defense a chance to get under it. Just get a touch on that big swing. Ava Doney doing the job right now.
And a good rally by both teams on that one, I would say, overall. But Jackson's defense just taking control of that one, and Glacier Peak wasn't able to respond themselves defensively.
Hansen outside for Argue, and prolonged contact, catch and throw call. That brings Sydney Peterson back to the back row. So got to say, it was a good trip across the front row by Peterson for the Jackson Timberwolves that time, as they managed to really limit her presence. She sets that ball out of system. Carly Bond sends a free ball. Christina Johnson hammers that ball down the line. Nice pickup by the middle Peterson. Here's Ayat out of the back row. The block, a nice cover by the middle Peterson. Girl can play some defense, and then Christina Argue hammers it off the tape and gets the good bounce for her, the bad bounce for Jackson, and it drops. And how about Sydney Peterson, the athlete, playing some serious defense there?
Great performance by her on that particular play. But Christina Argue with the kill on that one I thought was just as impressive. With her to get the clutch points.
Let's be real, David. Christina didn't mean to hit that ball into the tape like that. She'd have much rather hammered that ball straight down. So she came out on the good side of that one, and she'll take it. But I don't know that I'd call that a one of her plays that she's going to go home and have good dreams about tonight. Carly Bond, however, will take that swing all day long. Nice swing by her. Even with the set that's a good 4 feet off the net, she's able to go up, use her athleticism to hammer that ball down to the ground. Jordan Sprink into serve and set for the Grizzlies. Pistol. Right side, Johnson, and she hammers that one through the block. It's a good matchup for her against Gluth and Argue. Coming from that right side, Christina Argue, not the biggest block that Glacier Peak has. Emily Gluth not as dominant as Peterson, so we'll see if Jackson can exploit that. Ava Doney at the service line. She goes after Ayat. Into the middle, Gluth off the hands. Robinson touches it up, and Emily Gluth makes sure that one is just a little bit too hot to handle. Argue back to the service line. Ayat to the front row. This is what we were looking for. Set number 3. Pretty well played by both sides. This is a pretty fun matchup. Kate Hansen and Ayat, you aren't allowed to run past the score table, I don't believe. I think she could have got to it, but I'm pretty sure that's not allowed. The boundary is most likely the bench. Ashley Cordero steps in to play defensive specialist for Christina Argue. Christina Johnson to the service line. As you mentioned, David, the number 2 attacker statistically for the Grizzlies. She gets a nice dig there. Here's the ball outside, and Paige Wilson, great cover from Rachel Erb. Again, Wilson hits into the block, and it's Gluth and Johnson. And, you know, we don't talk as much about Claire Johnson as we do Natalie Ayat or Sydney Peterson, but how important is she to this team, David?
Oh, very much so. I mean, we could see on that play, I mean, she was all over that defensively, and that's what you need. I mean, you've got the attackers in Peterson, who, of course, is a two-way player, and then Ayat from the serve, but you need those defensive specialists, and she clearly showed that's the way you perform defensively on that particular play.
Little bit of a disconnect between the setters, Sprink and Sydney Peterson. Peterson improvises, does a nice job of tipping that ball over, finding a hole. Kate Hansen at the service line, and another tape shot serve from her. We saw a whole bunch of them towards the end of the Mount Vernon match we broadcast together a few weeks ago. And there's a great swing from Claire Johnson. So not only does she do it defensively, she sets and she can hammer the ball. Jackson's going to take a timeout. We're going to take a timeout as well here on STSPN.com.
We are all frustrated with the high cost of heating and cooling our homes. At GNS, we are completely changing the way you keep your home comfortable. Because we are Snohomish County's premier Lennox dealer, we can design a perfect system for you, one that will save you a lot of money on your utility bill. The Lennox Home Comfort System creates the ideal home environment. Enjoy innovation in every season with precise, quietly efficient Lennox heat pumps that keep your life simply perfect. Call GNS Heating, Cooling, and Electric today or visit us at gsheating.com.
Welcome back. It is tied up at 1 set apiece. The Glacier Peak Grizzlies are up 19-16 here in set number 3. I'm Matty Bishop with Uprising Volleyball alongside David Gillespie. Thanks for watching, everybody. Kate Hansen is at the service line for the Grizzlies. She is serving to Christina Johnson, Haley Pistol, and Rachel Erb. And she misfires out of the timeout. If it was me and not Mindy Stoudemire on the Jackson bench, I would give myself a little check mark on the stat sheet. Coaches can score 2 points per match. That's when you use them. You take the timeout, and the server misses coming out of it. Paige Wilson to the service line for Jackson. Sydney Peterson, great dig by Wilson. Robinson into the middle, and she hammers it down off the block of Peterson. That's Ainsley Johansson, number 13. She is a sophomore for the Jackson Timberwolves, and the future looks bright with a junior setter and a sophomore middle connecting like that.
Jackson's resilience on full display tonight. Not afraid to contend against the towering presence of Sydney Peterson, who has got the height, she's got the hammer, she's got the athleticism, but they're not shying away from it whatsoever.
Claire Johnson back to the service line. Carly Bond into the front row for Glacier Peak. And there's Erin Ingram, and Sydney Peterson gets a little bit back on that one. Her and Carly Bond were up with the block, but I think most of that contact was by Sydney Peterson. Just missed wide. Claire Johnson close on that one, but it was out of play. Down to crunch time here in set number 3. Lexi Dollarhide back in to serve for the Jackson Timberwolves. Robinson, the setters in the front row, alongside Erin Ingram and Ava Doney. This should be a pretty good rotation for Jackson. That's an illegal back row attack. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Natalie Iott's a front row player. You can't have an illegal back row attack when you're a front row player. Even I know that. Nice dig, good defense by the Jackson Timberwolves, and then a misfire from Johnson there.
A little too much on that one. Got to make sure to tighten that up in the next couple plays as we're winding down in set number 3 with only Glacier Peak leading by 1.
Iott, I don't think that one made it over the net. So it's judged it did not. That's 4 contacts, and it's a race to 4. First team to 4, win by 2 here. And that's going to bring a timeout out of the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. Coach Dave Thorne, we'll go ahead and stay with you here for the next 30 seconds or so. Going in towards the end of set number 3.
Please make sure you're telling your friends and family and volleyball fans to tune into STSPN.com.
Nice of them to give us a little announcement here in the gym. So, David, this is your first year calling volleyball with STSPN.com. What are some things that have stuck out to you over the course of the matches you've worked?
Oh, it's been just incredible to see these young high schoolers getting after it and trying to compete, whether it's in their conference or in the state overall. Just to see competition. I mean, I'm a fan of competition no matter what sport it is. So, but especially with volleyball, because this is as exciting as it gets, and seeing some of the more quality, some of the better volleyball players in the state, as we've seen from Glacier Peak and Jackson and Mount Vernon last time we called the game. It's been exciting to say the least. So no complaints here.
Speaking of quality, Sydney Peterson, not many athletes in Wesco volleyball can reach that high. You don't get to practice against that angle of contact very often. As she goes up and just stuffs the overfeed down, that brings Natalie Iott, her big jump top spin to the service line. It's been feast or famine for her tonight. It's either in the net or it's a very good serve. This one's a little off speed, right into deep 6. And little touch shot from Ava Doney as she comes around, puts both hands on it, dumps it into a corner, and a very effective, very useful side out there from the Jackson Timberwolves.
Yeah, this is all about that, who has more of that mental grit, that mental toughness as we get into the final points in set number 3. You got to wonder, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Glacier Peak taking control of this set as they have been exchanging sets over the last 2, or is Jackson going to defend its home turf in set number 3?
Sydney Peterson shows everyone, hey, I got a little touch shot too. She's also got a jump top spin. This one also deep 6 right to Haley Pistol. And Ava Doney comes out and says, okay, you got a touch shot. I got some power.
And Ava Doney making an impact in this one for Jackson.
She has been.
And what better timing to show up to, or to contribute a big point than late in the set number 3 with a big where a big change of momentum could occur.
Nice pickup by Rachel Erb there. Christina Argue with the dig this time. Set into the back row. Iott just sends a roll shot, and Haley Pistol can't deal with it. And Haley will want that one back, as whatever she saw or didn't see, she didn't get herself ahead of that one. And it is set point, 24-23. Jackson's going to take a timeout. We'll take a quick timeout as well here on STSPN.com.
Did you know that Speedway Chevrolet is part of the Lee Johnson Auto family? That means 84 years of serving you the LJ way. Need a truck? We have the perfect truck to fit your needs. Half tons, 1 ton, 2-wheel drives, and 4-wheel drives. Our finance specialists are here to help you, whether you have good credit or bad credit. We're just off Highway 522 at West Main Street in Monroe.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
All right. Jordan Sprink, junior setter for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies at the service line. She is serving to Haley Pistol, Paige Wilson, and Rachel Erb for the Jackson Timberwolves. It is Pistol. Robinson with the set right side. Christina Johnson, pick up by Sprink, and that's a catch and throw. It's a good call. She took it in, really held on to that ball, and then threw it out, and we're tied at 24.
And here the Glacier Peak crowd protesting that point.
That's a tough call to make for an official, especially on an important point, but it's the right call. She definitely caught and threw that, and I thought that was a service ace for Ava Doney. The line judge did not agree.
And we see an opposite reaction from Glacier Peak on that one. So
Christina argued to the service line. Glacier Peak serving set point, set number 3. Haley Pistol, perfect pass from her for Robinson. Here's Paige Wilson, and it is Emily Gluth and Claire Johnson with the big block, and Glacier Peak takes set number 3 and a 2-1 lead. And anything can happen here for the rest of this one. Remember, the winner is going to be tied for at least a share, or have at least a share of second place in Wesco. We got lots more volleyball coming for you. We'll be right back here on STSPN.com.
Your dreams evolve, and with committed support, they thrive. American Family Insurance.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline Fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline Fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
When you shop at Ace Hardware in Everett and Lake Stevens, we'll help you find what you're looking for and offer friendly advice too. Owners Greg and Christine are all about serving their customers and their community. They support local high school sports and many other community organizations and events. So the next time you need help with your to-do list or project around the house, bring it to Ace. They'll greet you at the door and help you find whatever you need fast. Show your support for locally owned businesses. Shop Ace Hardware just off Highway 9 in Lake Stevens and Everett Greenway in Everett. Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folks.
Welcome back inside Jackson High School. We're here for the start of set number 4. It is Claire Johnson, the senior setter and right side at the service line, starting us off with a service ace for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. David, we've seen a little bit of everything here in these first 3 sets. Who are the players that stick out to you so far for each side?
Well, I think lately Claire Johnson, who we just noted, has really stepped up big for Glacier Peak. Glacier Peak obviously taking control of set number 3, so her can't go wrong with Sydney Peterson. And Natalie Ayad, I mean, really, last set was a collective team performance from Glacier Peak, so it's really hard to note one particular player because that was a collective team effort to secure set number 3 and jump up to a 2-1 lead in this matchup.
Peterson and Ayat with the block there. Haley Pistol with the pass. It's tight, and somehow Lydia Robinson finds a way to get that down. Nice play by her as the setter for Jackson, improvising there. She's a junior. She's been impressive tonight.
Yeah, great tip in by Robinson right there to get off into set number 4 on a good start.
Sydney Peterson misfires on that one. Paige Wilson was very, very good in set number 2. Glacier Peak found an answer for her in set number 3. We didn't see as much of that. It was more Ava Doney and Christina Johnson working the offense for Jackson in the 3rd set. So who's going to step up big here in set number 3? That's Carly Bond, the lefty swinging from the left pin. And she got all her momentum behind that cross-court shot. It was a bullet that she launched through there.
What a hammer on that one. That was flying, and you knew that once it left her hand, no one was getting that one.
Ayat with the jump top spin. Ingram with the big hammer from the right side. So she returns the favor. The outside hitter, the righty, hitting from the right side for Jackson, and fun to watch. I like Erin Ingram a lot. There's a future for her here. She's only a sophomore, and she's getting some really meaningful time here. She's going to be a leader of this Jackson team for the next couple of years. Sydney Peterson hammers that one off the top of the block of Doney and Wilson. Extremely difficult to defend that when she's hitting from that high above you. Peterson's jump top spin serve. Pass by Rachel Erb. Wilson outside, that's off the block. Nicely done by Gluth and Bond. Roll shot over the top, dug by Johnson. There's the hands from Peterson. Bond sends that one back into play. Out of system set from Pistol. Wilson down the line. What a pickup by Ayat, but it's into the Glacier Peak bench. Not sure how she got under that ball.
Good effort nonetheless, though.
She couldn't control it. That brings Ava Doney to the service line for Jackson. Glacier Peak up 2-1. Ayat with the big hammer out of the back row. Nice job by Johansson. Oh, funky dig, funky set there for Jackson. Out of system play, gives the free ball to Glacier Peak. Christina Argue off the block for the kill. Minnie Staudinger doesn't like it, but that ball came off the block.
Another disagreement between the coaches and the refs.
Jordan Sprink serving and setting for Glacier Peak. Robinson back set for Johnson. Great pickup by Kate Hansen. Out of system set from Argue. Ayat sends the down ball. Rachel Erb with the dig. Outside Paige Wilson, and it is up. Oh, somehow Jackson keeps that alive. I believe it was Rachel Erb with the cover. Everyone thought it was down. To their credit, it was the blockers. It was Johnson of Glacier Peak who realized it wasn't down.
What a save. I mean, that was incredible.
Then Emma Gluth, gets the kill. What a play by Claire Johnson as that ball comes up. A great cover by Jackson.
Just unfortunate for Jackson's sake not to get the point on that one with such a hard-fought battle on that particular play.
Robinson to Johnson, through the block, picked up by Ayat. Sprink pushes this one high into the pipe. Natalie Pistol's under it, but she can't pop it up high enough. And so if you hammer that ball a couple times right at the libero, they're going to be back on their heels looking for the hard-driven ball. That opens up the roll shot. Remember a player named Courtney Schwann, who's now played at UW. She's now overseas playing professionally. She won a state championship with that roll shot out of the pipe one year.
Husky legend, man. I'm sure she's someone they would be looking up to as far as how to play volleyball, because she's one of the best to ever do it coming out of the University of Washington.
So Minnie Staudinger going to send Paige Wilson over to talk to the up ref. Jackson got the point regardless. She's arguing that the ball was out of play and on the Jackson side of the antenna coming from the Glacier Peak side. There's no pursuit allowed. So discussion, it only brings laughter from the Jackson bench.
Yeah, you can hear Ansley.
Dave Thorne is sneering a little bit over there. He's got a bit of a chuckle going. So whatever's happening is a bit comical. Misfire by Claire Johnson.
So it seems like things are starting to sharpen up in terms of the quality of play. In set number 4 is, clearly in set 1 and 2 is getting a little out of hand, but now we're seeing a very close battle between the two and very top-notch quality play from both sides.
Wilson off the block. She covers her own. Off the block again, and this time they can't pick it up, so it's Claire Johnson over there. She has been the answer to Paige Wilson. We mentioned at one point in set 2 that there was no answer to Paige Wilson. Claire Johnson has stepped up and said, hey, I'll do that. Nice work by her. Emma Gluth right there with her on the block. Haley Pistol with the pass. Robinson out of the back row. Johnson, and that's a difficult one. She never really got her feet to it. She's jumping forward through the ball with a low point of contact. That ball's going to go into the net every time. Christina Argue at the service line for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. Out of system set from Pistol. Wilson, roll shot over the top, and Argue can't get to it. That's a really nice shot by Paige Wilson. So you put the big block in front of her a few times, and then she shows you her high line with a lot of spin, with a lot of pace on it. That's a good play. She goes to the back row now, to the service line. That brings Erin Ingram back into the front row, who has not been as effective as Wilson tonight. But she does bring a different look. A little bit taller, a little bit higher point of contact. Here's Natalie Ayotte. That ball's off the block and down, and it's the big block of Ainsley Johansson and Lydia Robison that gets that one. Paige Wilson continues to serve. Ayotte, perfect pass for Sprink. This one's going to the lefty Johnson, and she hammers it off the block. Almost a nice little chicken wing to dig there from Mindy Staudinger. She gets the elbow out, almost picked that ball up. Kate Hansen at the service line. The dump from Robinson picked up by Johnson. Outside, here's Ayotte. That ball swatted back. Sprink sets for Johnson this time. That ball comes off the block, picked up by Ayotte. Sprink goes back to Johnson, off the block again. Ingram tries to just slap it down. Peterson's not going to let that happen the first time or the second time. Christina Johnson somehow gets that in play after the amazing play by Robinson. Peterson off the block. Johnson sends another free ball back, and it's a net violation called against number 13, and that's a lot of hard work that Jackson put in for nothing there.
Just unfortunate for Jackson, because what a rally that was.
Great
and to not come
plays.
out on top was just unfortunate for their sake.
Talk about Lydia Robinson and how good that defense was, how amazing it was for her to get under those balls.
That defense been put on full display tonight, and that just couldn't have been epitomized more than on that particular play.
Kate Hansen continues to serve. She goes right after Paige Wilson and gets the ace, and all of a sudden Glacier Peak with a big chunk of momentum. Jackson taking a timeout. We're going to take a timeout as well here on STSPN.com.
Your dreams evolve, and with committed support, they thrive. American Family Insurance.
Nice.
Welcome back inside Jackson High School. We were just talking about the two amazing digs on that rally by Lydia Robinson, junior setter for Jackson, and Christina Johnson with the presence of mind to get the ball back over. The thing about that, though, is you do all that work, you send the free ball back over, and Glacier Peak just reloads and comes at you again and again and again. And it was good, consistent ball by the Grizzlies. Is going to generally trump scrambling defense.
We're tipping our hat to Jackson with their defensive performance, but you got to tip your hat to Glacier Peak for keeping their foot on the gas pedal as well.
Johnson, Robinson dumps that one over, pick up by Johnson. Out of system, or pardon me, in system set to the outside hitter, Natalie Ayat. Jordan Sprink, nice hands there from her. Ayat slaps that ball down into the middle and gets the kill, and Glacier Peak opening up a little bit of breathing room here in set number 4. Big swing in the middle. What a pickup, Claire Johnson, and then incredible hands from Sydney Peterson. Doing the work defensively is Esha Mahal for Jackson. She got 2 digs there. Johnson off the block of Johansson. Robinson can't pick that one up. It's called a lift regardless. Claire Johnson has been phenomenal here tonight.
Said, appearing to get
service ace for Hanson, and Jackson is in trouble. Glacier Peak, you mentioned it, David. They want to put their foot on the gas pedal and get out of here tonight with the W.
And they're doing that right now with their score doubling Jackson's 16-8 in set number 4.
So Hanson gives them a little bit of breathing room there. Checking in to serve is going to be Olivia Fleming, senior defensive specialist for Jackson. Ava Doney comes back into the front row. She's there alongside with Ingram and Robinson. Ayat, 12 feet off the net for Sprink. Here's Claire Johnson, and nice job from Mahal keeping that ball up. Here's Johnson again. This one's down, and it's Fleming who keeps it up. Jackson scrambling once more. Ingram does a nice job getting a touch on it, but can't control it. And so you just see that when things are really firing for Glacier Peak, it's very difficult for teams to find a consistent answer.
Especially when you got Sydney Peterson to contend against, because she was the key on that play. And Glacier Peak just really clicking and really getting into a strong rhythm right now.
Mahal sends over the free ball. Hanson. Here's Peterson again off the block. Nice pickup by Pistol. Avadoni doing her job touching that ball on the block there. Ingram gets a swing picked up by Johnson. Out of system set, Hanson. Ayat rolls that ball over the top, and Christina Johnson can't pick that one up. Lots of weapons on display here for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. Johnson pops this up. Mahal brings the ball back. Pistol sends the free ball right to the middle of the court for Hanson. Perfect pass from her. Here's Peterson, mistimed. Johnson gets it up, but right back to the net, and Robinson can't control it. And it's past time to panic for the Jackson Timberwolves. At this point, you just have to play 1 point at a time. If you're going to do something special, it's got to be 1 point at a time.
Well, you got to wonder if Mindy Staudinger is going to call a timeout soon to just kind of regroup and reset with this team, because we're getting into the waning points of this last set that could go in Glacier Peak's favor and ultimately end the match.
Lydia Robinson at the service line after the service error by the Grizzlies. Perfect pass from Ayat. Here's Peterson, pounds that off the block of Johnson and Doney, and they can't get up for the second bite of the cherry, and it's another kill for Peterson. Natalie Ayat, that big jump top spin serve to the service line. She'll be going after Mahal, Ingram, and Pistol here in the serve receive for the Timberwolves. Low toss. Oh, it's off Christina Johnson. It was almost like self-defense. Ingram sends the free ball. Another perfect pass from Ayat. Here's Carly Bond hammering that one off the block and out. And so when they're firing, you cannot give this Glacier Peak team a free ball. It's just too many weapons on display there.
Absolutely, especially Natalie Ayat, who's, of course, serving right now. And her presence is certainly felt on this Glacier Peak team thus far tonight.
Robinson runs that one down. Perfect pass from Ayat again, and it's Peterson. And Robinson gets down, and I'm not sure where that ball caught her. It looked like it caught her up around the chest or the chin. As we take a look, so just getting news in, there's a score on WescoAthletics.com that Mariner has scored a 3-0 win over Monroe. So that would mean, if that's true, that would mean the winner of this would be in sole possession of second place in Wesco 4A. That would be one heck of a win for the Mariner Marauders.
And a perfect setup for Glacier Peak.
Yeah,
Who's presumably going to be the winner if they can hold on to this set.
If that result is true, then big hats off to Coach Riordan and the Mariner Marauders. That's a great result. Big block there by the Jackson Timberwolves. Lexi Dollarhide into the front row, alongside with Doney and Johnson, and almost picked that ball up. It was Rachel Erb, who's had a great match as a DS across the back row. She's really been a difference maker at times. Here's another timeout for Mindy Stodinger. She's going to try and get what she can out of the end of this set 4 here. We're going to take a quick timeout as well here on STSPN.com.
McDaniel's Do It Center is located in beautiful Snohomish, Washington. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years. They are proud to provide the Snohomish Valley with exceptional hardware, tools, lawn and garden, and sporting goods products. Their commitment to delivering legendary customer service and their outstanding employees continue to make McDaniel's the best and one of the most recognized Do It Best centers in the nation. Stop by and experience for yourself the difference between McDaniel's and the big box stores. Discover why so many people are choosing to shop at McDaniel's.
All right, welcome back inside Jackson High School. It is set number 4. It is 23-12. Senior middle hitter Sydney Peterson for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies with the lead. It's a net violation called against Lydia Robinson for the Jackson Timberwolves, and it has been a dominating set 4 performance for the Grizzlies.
Sydney Peterson with his serve. It's Mount Vernon. Rallies back.
Ooh, sweet little roll shot from Lexi Dollarhide there. So she's getting some offensive reps here. Ava Doney back to the service line.
It's going to be important for Jackson to end this match strong at the very least. Just to have something positive to note about this 4th set that's just gone awry, to say the least.
Oh, Christina Argue, what a swing down the line. And she puts the exclamation point on Glacier Peak's 3-1 win here at Jackson High School. On behalf of, we'll be back in just a moment. We're going to go down and get our Adrenaline Fundraiser Player of the Match. We'll be back here on STSPN.com. Hey, do you want me to do it since I know the girls and the coaches? Yeah, probably better.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline Fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline Fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow-through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
Smile a lot, say nice things about your teammates. All right, welcome back inside Jackson High School. I am here with our Adrenaline Fundraising Player of the Match. It is the senior setter and right side for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. Claire Johnson, you had yourself a game tonight. In set number 4 there was a point in time where it looked like you guys just had too many weapons. Talk to us about the hitters that you have available to you as a setter and how you go about using them through a course of a match.
Sydney Peterson is really strong in the middle, and then also when we get in a rut, we can set her on the outside too. And then Carly Bond has a really strong left arm, and Natalie Ayot with her topspin.
So, Claire, your team also played incredible defense. You specifically played incredible defense. Talk to like a young player out there about what are some things in your mind that you think about when you're working on your defense that help make you better.
Well, I know that I have a strong block on the right side, so I focus on mainly picking up tips, and yeah.
So, lastly, you guys have kind of gone through some ups and downs this season. Last time I saw you was the Mount Vernon match at home, which I'm sure you guys weren't too stoked on.
No.
But tell us about how this group has come together and kind of how the personalities have meshed and what the goals are for the second half of this season.
Yeah, we've just been working a lot on teamwork and celebrating after every point and coming together. And yeah.
Claire Johnson, fantastic job tonight. This is your Adrenaline Fundraising Player of the Match, the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. If what we saw on WescoAthletics.com is correct, move into sole possession of second place in Wesco, with Mariner defeating Monroe in 3 sets. Glacier Peak winning at Jackson here 3-1. Claire, nice job. Great work tonight.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys again here soon.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey, it's been a blast to bring you this matchup here on STSPN.com, and we'll see you back in the gym here real soon.